Zach and Alex Braman. This is the first time we've ever done this on the show, where we have two people, and more interestingly, you are both married, and you're building a company together. So I want to talk about Chubby's and the company that you guys are building. But first, I want to hear a little bit more about what led you guys individually and as a couple to this point where you are deciding to build a company together. I feel like myself and a lot of people that I meet, we're very entrepreneurial. Everyone has this dream in the back of their mind. We work our corporate job, but we're always like, well, what if I followed my passion? Or what if I pursued this idea? And it sounds like that's what Chubby's is for you guys. And I want to hear a lot more about where the idea came from and what that is. But first, Alex, I want to start with you. You've got a pretty large following on Instagram, and you've already built a business for yourself. And as you guys have told me, a 7-figure brand around that. And so it seems like you having your MBA, whether that means anything or not, but already having built a business, which I think is more important, you are uniquely capable for the two of you to build this company. And so I want to hear a little bit more about how did you at first build your personal brand, Alex? How did you get into that?
Yeah, well, I started in the fitness wellness space as just a passion project on the side as I was in corporate America, and really just started posting online helpful tips, tricks, kind of the whole thing, just because I loved it. And during COVID, I was let go in the second round of layoffs, and I just realized in that moment that, like, thinking about going back to another corporate job, it sounded miserable to me, and I couldn't get myself to do it. And I thought, what better time and opportunity than to launch an online fitness coaching business in a time where no one can get, to personal trainers, no one can get access to gyms. And luckily, the timing worked out really well, where Zach was able to help me and give me the runway to be able to pursue that dream. And timing was everything. It worked out really well in COVID, and so that's how it got started.
And what was your corporate job? What were you doing there that you got laid off from?
I was in recruiting, sales, had a background in software sales. Yeah.
And then that just grew. So you started this personal brand in 2020 when you got laid off.
Right.
And then it kind of just grew from there. As far as building a brand goes, we'll stick with personal brand for now. As far as building a personal brand goes, like, I'm sure that was difficult for you, like, over the past few years, past 5-6 years now. How did you get through, like, those early moments where you post something, it flops, nobody looks at it? Like, how you're still here doing this years later. So how did you get through those moments?
Yeah, I think it's just the self-belief, to be honest. You just have to realize that anything you do that's new, you're going to suck at it. That's just how the journey goes. And you just have to keep going until you get better at it. And eventually you become that expert. Eventually people start to notice what you're posting and they're interested and they start catching on. But at first it's scary because you're like, nobody cares. What, like, is this dumb? You get in your head a lot. It's that imposter syndrome. There's a lot of that. But I just always kept that goal in mind of, I'm here to help. I'm here to put out good information, and that's all I can do. And I just had that, again, belief that eventually people will care. So that consistency.
And Matt, she's been an inspiration for me on my LinkedIn journey, trying to post, just seeing her operate the way she does, her tips and tricks she gives me, and also just keeping me sane and letting me know that exactly what you just said, you're going to suck at this for a little bit, but just keep showing up as your authentic self and do it. And she's living proof that it can work when you do it the right way.
And what level of delusion would you guys say is required to believe that you'll have either a personal brand or a company that you're building? How much delusion plays into success?
I think a lot.
Yeah.
I always tell Zach, I'm like, you have to be delusionally optimistic and just so confident that it is going to work out. I think that's what keeps you going.
See, and I would say I agree with that in many ways, but is it delusional from the external factors? I believe fully in what we're doing, and I know she does as well. So to me, it's not delusional. We're manifesting this similar to things that we've manifested in our entire time together in our lives, personally and professionally. So I do, although I agree with that delusional component, I look at it more as external factors people may think we're delusional for wanting to do it, whereas we just have the self-confidence and belief in ourselves, like Lex was just mentioning, that belief in yourself, that relentless optimism that we're going to get this done, regardless of who or what say we're delusional.
And I would say it's only delusion if you give up, right? Like, because if you stick at anything long enough, you can be successful at it, whatever that means.
Yeah, I think so.
And so I would frame it as like, sure, you look delusional or you feel delusional, maybe, and that is, that's optimism that you're manifesting, but you're only delusional if you give up. Like, that's the only real failure.
Yeah.
I would say.
And any force rooting against you, or the haters that want to hate, whatever it may be, that's when they win, right? That's when that delusion, we knew it. We knew you couldn't do it. We knew you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, we knew you'd give up.
Yeah, right. And that's just, she's proven that already as an entrepreneur, and I'm here to do the same. And we're building this brand that may be delusional to some, but to us, we know where we're headed.
Yeah. Well, Zach, I do want to hear more. So we kind of know what Alex has been up to the past 5 years, and you have been in corporate maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
What have you been doing the past few years? What's your career looked like?
Yeah, my last decade, I've been in staffing, mostly tech staffing and consulting, and have sold for the majority of my career up until the last 5-6 years, give or take, where I've been a leader of sales teams, running teams in single markets, up to my last position where I was the sales leader for a $50 million organization nationally.
And then recently, you left that career to start this. And before so in September is when you left your job, right? And where did you first get the idea for Chubies?
Yeah.
And when did you first get that?
We actually, Alex and I, in right around mid 2025, a little bit before, midway through the year, we had started whiteboarding. How are we going to go in business together? We knew we wanted to go in business together, and then what the hell is it we're going to do? And we would put our son to bed, and we would spend our nights, or part of nights, whiteboarding. Pulling ideas. Obviously, health and fitness influencer. I actually started a clothing line back in the day with a good friend of mine. Wasn't successful, but I had that passion for apparel and design, and I knew I wanted to do something in that realm, and we just kept going back and forth. And about June 2025, we landed on this idea of taking both of those obsessions and passions and fusing them together to build this brand, Chubies.
Yeah. So what first gave you the idea then? So that was the timeline. And first, what is Chubies? I don't think you've said it necessarily, but what is Chubies, and then what inspired the idea itself?
Yeah, Chubies is a children's shoe line. It'll be a barefoot, wide toe box shoe that focuses on foot health, active lifestyle, as well as some design features that are in patent process. So I have to be a little hush hush about them right now, but
sure, yeah.
But some design features to provide parents peace of mind, and the inspiration behind it was we were living in Denver, and out on a hike. And our son, who only one at the time, still had some ability, but he was really struggling up the mountain. And it's not that we were, pushing him up the mountain, but he was just struggling. And we were really unhappy with his shoes, dissatisfied with what he had. We went back home, looked for what our ideal shoe for him was. Got a couple options, but still we're pretty dissatisfied. We weren't really thrilled with them. And it was actually her. She came up with the idea. Chubbies is our son's nickname. Don't ask me how we got to it. I'm a weirdo. We always throw nicknames out. And all couple months of whiteboarding, putting the idea together, it just came to her like a flash. And as soon as she said, why don't we start a children's shoe line, a barefoot shoe line called Chubbies? Dude, I promise you, I didn't even take more than 2 minutes before I started sketching out the first design of Chubbies.
Yeah.
And now we're in the shoe game.
Yeah, and I saw the pictures you sent me, and right when you see it, I think as a parent, I think parents especially would connect with this. Right when you see the design, you're like, oh, that's awesome. Like, cool. It is cool to have your kids in like matching Nikes or whatever. Like, sure,
right.
That's flashy and trendy or whatever. But like when you see the design of these shoes, you're like, oh, that'd be way more comfortable, way more functional for a child. And I have 2 kids, so like I'm definitely interested in those sort of things where like I want my kids to grow up naturally, whatever that means. I don't know, in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I want them to develop in the best way that they can. But one thing that stuck out to me as you were saying, like, oh, we had this problem where the shoes sucked. We were on the hike and like something's not working here. Our kid's struggling to get up the hill, and it seems like the shoes are the problem. I feel like that's the making of an entrepreneur right there.
Right.
Like, I feel like we have ideas of, oh, this would be a cool company, but the real backing of an idea is, well, you see a problem and you just find a solution to it, and you realize, oh, maybe other people would want this too, and maybe they'd want to pay for it.
Yeah.
And like that's how I think businesses should start. Like, Alex, you were just posting tips for like, oh, maybe my friends, I know more than my friends about fitness, and so I'll post online, and then you realize, oh, people actually appreciate what I have to say here, and maybe I could provide more information, or maybe even a coaching service to these people to help motivate them, and I know that those are some things that you provided there. But it's tough to build a business while working a full-time job. So take me back to September when you left your job. What were the things that led up to that, or what was the moment that allowed you to kind of leave corporate and be able to go full-time in on Chubbies?
Yeah. Well, Matt, first of all, it sounds like your kids are going to need to be Chubby kids. So
yeah, I think they will.
We'll get you hooked up. I was actually let go from my previous employer. As I mentioned, I was leading sales for a $50 million organization, and without going too deep, because we're here and it, yeah, I want to badmouth anybody.
Right.
There were differences in the way that I was attempting to. Let me say this: the way I was looking to row the boat, that direction was different than the direction of others that were above me, and there were just multiple things that I brought to the attention of folks that I thought needed to hear it, changes that I thought we needed to make, and it got to a point where I was really vocal about certain things, and ultimately was let go.
Yeah.
So at that point in September, Chubbies already existed. We were already into a point of creating brand guidelines and pushing the brand. So the irony of it is I actually was already planning with Lex the exit strategy of getting this brand built. Because of course you always hear having that security, working the full-time job while building something on the side, wait until it's the absolute right time. And in theory, that's great. And that's exactly what we were going to be doing this year. It just didn't work out that way. And it's messy. There's a lot of unknown. There are variables that get thrown. And that's what happened to me. And at that point, Matt, I started revamping my resume. I started getting to the point where I was about to utilize my network, see what else was out there and what else I could do. We also simultaneously made the decision to move back east from Denver to Louisville, Kentucky, to be closer to family. And at that time, because of where we were with Chubies and what we knew ultimately what we wanted to be doing, she allowed me the runway to pursue this full time, just like I had done for her nearly 6 years ago. And I think that's such a beautiful story, to where it's husband, wife, best friends, but two people that are super passionate about what we're doing and have both been the breadwinner, have both been the person providing to allow the other to pursue a dream. And that's where we are today. And I'm super stoked that we have the ability to do it, and believe strongly that everything that went down in my career was for a reason. And I also want to make it known that there are faults and flaws that I have that I can certainly admit and own up. But here we are, and now we're taking this thing to launch it later this year.
Yeah, I think with all the people that get laid off or fired or whatever it is, like, everyone has faults, and everyone who has ever worked at a company has probably done something that, if framed the wrong way, is a fireable offense because they pissed off the wrong person in a meeting. So I don't hold it against anybody. Like, if they ever have been let go, like, I don't think it necessarily means anything. But one thing I want to ask about is, you said that Alex is doing for you what you did for her 6 years ago. What do you mean by that?
I have no income coming in right now. So I've been fortunate in my career to have done well enough for myself where there's certainly money. We're not completely broke, but she's the breadwinner. She's making the only income right now in our family. So money that has been saved, money that maybe would have been allocated elsewhere had I still been working, is now all into the business. And we've just figured out the way in which we can live a lifestyle that we've been somewhat accustomed to, but we've downsized considerably. We're doing things the way that makes most sense to focus solely on the business. I'm taking care of our son Bodie full time. I'm a full-time dad to save on childcare costs. And Sugar Mama over here is doing all the work, bringing the money in right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a tall ask. I'm not going to try and speak for women. I've known women. I had a mom, and I've been married for about 8 years now, and my wife has worked for almost that entire time. However, I know it is a unique challenge being a mom, especially a self-employed mom. It's not like you have paternity leave, but you're pregnant right now, right, Alex?
Yep.
And when are you guys due?
April 3rd.
April. So you're getting into the third trimester almost?
We're there, yeah.
Okay, so you're in the third. Yeah, I'm like, what day is it right now?
Hey, that's pretty good though.
Yeah.
Pretty good on your part.
Well, we just had a baby last year too, so
I
used to do the math regularly.
Yeah.
But you're still working full time, even though you're pregnant. You're still exercising regularly as part of your business and as part of your personal health. What strain do you feel as a working mother and as the sole provider right now, as Zach is trying to focus on Chubies?
Yeah, I think it's been a tougher transition than I imagined, having our son and owning a business. I thought that I didn't even give myself maternity leave. I had no idea. So that's been tough, just from being used to working all the time to now I have other priorities where I want to spend all this free time with my family. And so that's been tough. I feel like that's probably the hardest part still, is allocating my time in a way where I'm being present with my family when I'm with them, but making sure that I'm productive with the time that I do have. And I think it just helps me to really like lock down on my time management and not waste any time, because I don't want to spend all of my day working and not being with family. So that's tough. So that balance of trying to manage both can be really hard.
Do you feel strained? Like I'm weighing you down, not bringing
no,
you
no.
We can turn this into a therapy session. Not your MBA exclusive, the therapy edition.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, there's a lot of unknowns right now, which is, part of it. But I just, again, I think it, like going back to that, I guess, delusional thinking, like I've just had that confidence in not just myself, but Zach and us together, where I just know it's going to work out, and that's just what it is. It has to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love delusional happiness. It's such a life hack of like,
Yeah.
well, I'm just going to be happy no matter what. My house could be on fire and I'll just be happy anyway. Like, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, and that's part of it. The risk, a big part, reverting back to what I was saying about the crossroads I was at. Do I take another job where I have security, I know I have money coming in, and keep doing this on the side? When you reach the conclusion, for me and for us, it was, hell no. Pursue this full time. Go all in. Again, we're fortunate enough to have some backing. She's still doing her thing. And we do have that belief in what we're doing. And it's taking that risk, and ultimately it's the risk reward. Mm-hmm. What do I risk? Okay, I risk not having income for however long. Insurance costs are crazy, paying that out of pocket, no longer have an employer doing that, which was a big burden for me. That was a big thing that, at working for a corporate, I was able to receive those benefits and provide them to the family. Now it's different, but still at the end of the day, the reward, the air around me that I have, I just move in freedom. I feel so relieved doing what I'm doing it with her, building this brand that we really feel super confident, super strong about, a brand that we know our customers are going to trust, and that's why we're building in public. We want to bring people along for the ride, because that delusional component that you keep referencing, that risk that's involved, it feels to be lesser when we're out in the open showing people what we're doing, because it's not always perfect, it's not always beautiful, but if that can inspire even one person that's in the same boat I was in not long ago to say, and like, we can go do this, or I have this passion, I want to pursue it, and it can be done. You hear it all the time, and I'm just another person to tell anybody it can be done. You just have to have that belief in yourself and be courageous enough to go attack it.
Yeah, I definitely believe like it can be done. One thing that I think is maybe a hang up, neither one of you have a manufacturing background, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So now you're building this company. It's a physical products company where, like, Zach, you come from the sales and staffing world. Alex, you come from the recruiting world, and then having a personal brand and media, and maybe physical products from the like affiliates kind of side of things.
Sure.
But having your own physical product, neither one of you've done that before, right?
Right.
So this is a brand new thing. How have you gone about finding suppliers or manufacturers or forging those partnerships?
Yeah, network. Been super fortunate in my career, and even before true career, being an adult, just through high school, through college, just building friends, building relationships, being authentic and being genuine, and having a level of reciprocity with people that I've known. So as I mentioned, I started a clothing line with a good friend in 2010. Shout out to Iggy Threads. And in that process, we're in the same boat just 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We had to paw our way through and find how we could produce, how we could make shirts, manufacture, do what we needed to do. Fast forward to now, I just went back to the Rolodex, so to speak, man. I hit up somebody that helped us along the way in 2010. Former Abercrombie guy, super creative, new people in that world. And it just so happened that he had spun off his own agency recently on the creative side, brought in a partner to help us who was former Bath and Body Works. She's amazing. Shout out to Blake and Julie. They have helped us tremendously. They are brand partners to us. We still own the business, but they have helped us with all of the manufacturing piece. And again, it's just the network. Finding the right people, being connected to the right people, and then leaning on those people in the time of need. And we're fortunate enough that we have those two as our partners to help us through this process as we build. And then they will, they've found us the right people, and we'll pass off the relationships, and that will set us on our journey.
15 years, that's a long time to wait before sending the late night "you up" text, like trying to follow up on that, like, hey, I know it's been a while, but
yeah the thing is that it wasn't quite that abrupt hit up 15 years after. Blake is somebody that, because of being genuine, authentic, kind, him and I have stayed in touch. Certainly not regularly, but enough so to where when I hit him up, it wasn't, new phone, who is this? It's just keeping people in, and I didn't want anything from them. I just wanted to stay in touch with them. We're connected in another way personally, that our paths crossed again. I hadn't spoken to him for probably a decade, and something happened. I saw he posted on LinkedIn. Long story short, it's just staying good to people, and not just leaning on people when you need them. And I know it's said a lot, but I've always lived that way, and it's always proven to be fruitful. And I don't do it for that reason. It's certainly not that. So it's just awesome to be able to lean on a network like that. And Blake and Julie, again, a shout out, because they've been instrumental in our business.
And Alex, how has your network influenced the growth of your personal brand? Is that something you started with, or is that something you grew along the way? How have people helped you to grow that?
As far as from like a social media standpoint, or I think I haven't even really talked a whole lot about what we're doing on social media yet. I'm starting to kind of leak, like, here's what we're doing, and back on LinkedIn for the first time in a while too, since corporate, because I didn't know how to navigate LinkedIn as an entrepreneur. It's just like a weird space that I didn't know how to really present myself on. But I think we're gonna see that community that I've built really coming through and supporting us when we do launch and like talk more about it, because I feel that part of what I've been able to build in that personal brand has been a lot of just like Zach said, like being authentic and just helping people and having real conversations, and people seem to notice that and want to connect. And I think that's going to pay off for us in terms of they trust me, I hope, and what I'm doing, what we're doing. I think they'll get behind that because they've been following my journey, a lot of people, for a long time. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but
yeah. I mean, that's what I was curious about. Like, I assume, so you said that you wanted to build a business together. Like, you guys have been talking that you knew you wanted to be in business together, not just Zach has a job, you have your own brand, and you're doing sponsored content or affiliate deals or that sort of stuff. But you want to build a business together, which I think is noble, and not every couple can do. I know plenty of couples where I think that would just end in divorce, so I would never push them to do that.
yes.
So examining your own relationship and related to your relationship and the relationship to the business, do you guys have rules around, like, hey, 6 p.m. or 8 p.m., like, we're not talking shop? Like, what are the boundaries that you guys have set to help maintain your life together versus your life as entrepreneurs?
We actually haven't set any boundaries with any level of specificity, especially right now with me taking care of our son full time. It's been every nap, which we're pretty lucky in that he naps a considerable amount. So midday, able to get work done, but that's what that time is used for, whatever it may be. And then usually at nighttime is the only time, and we just. It consumes us. It's that obsession that we have and passion for what we're doing that we're always thinking about it. We talk about it pretty much all the time. I mean, there's always something to be done as you're building a brand, and especially in infancy stages where we are right now. And we haven't needed, speak for myself, we haven't needed the boundaries, but...
Well, I think one boundary that we have is just not making decisions without the other person involved is one. So because this is our company together, so that's one thing where we're like, okay, we need to make sure we're on the same page and talk through these decisions, and that's one. But then also I find that one thing that I really try to not do is have us working or on our phones while we're with our son, because I never want him to feel like he's competing for our attention. So again, now, we're squeezing in work during nap time and at night, and that's just how we operate. So that's kind of what we're working with now. But other than that, I don't know, I feel like we balance each other really well in a lot of ways, and just have always kind of like, we have similar mindsets, so it's been good.
Well, and Matt, you know this, but we're actually in Florida right now. So we left our son with my in-laws and came out here for 4 days to work, just to get away before our baby girl is due, and to focus on several key items that we needed to that are going to take more time than just a nap here and there, and to lay out not only a pathway for the business, but also some personal things that we need to do for pregnancy and all of that. And it's been extremely rewarding to close out our 4 days in Florida doing this with you, as just a great cherry on top of everything that we've been able to accomplish this week. But that's what you have to do. You have to find the time, and I will certainly co-sign us balancing one another out. And I think that's imperative for partnerships, whether it's two friends, husband, wife, two random people. That balance of skill sets is critical, and also to hold each other accountable, which is something that we have no problem doing. Which is just another reason we believe we'll be successful.
Yeah, and I think there's, as a entrepreneur, father, and I still have a day job, even. But I'm also running this podcast, more part-time as far as hours are concerned. But I would love it for it to be the main breadwinner.
Keep pursuing it, man.
Yeah, and I fully believe it'll get there. I'm totally delusional. And I think there are, as a parent and entrepreneur and all those things I said, I think there are periods where you need the balance where, like Alex, like you said, I'm not going to be on my phone in front of my son. I'm not going to make him feel like he's competing for my time. So while he's asleep, or maybe while Zach has him for an hour or two, then I'll do something for work, or maybe just at night. There's periods of I'm switching between my things, and we have that balance between everything. But then there's periods of just relentless aggression, where you take 4 days and you go to Florida and you say the only thing we're doing is just work, and we're going to get as much done as we possibly can. And I think you got to be able to do both. One thing that you said, though, that stuck out to me is that, and I think, Alex, it was you that said it, we don't make decisions without consulting each other. And I feel like early stages, that's probably going to be the case. But how do you expect that to change as, let's say, a couple years from now? And the business has grown a lot more, and maybe you're in charge of separate things. How do you guys plan on functioning and divvying out responsibility where you may have to make decisions separately?
Well, that's a good point. I think right now it is just us, so that's the dynamic. But as we grow and we have more defined roles, responsibilities. We're having to take different pieces of ownership. Yes, I think that will be a thing of, once we decide what that looks like, going through that together. I'm like, cool, so you're going to own this, and I trust you to do the right thing here. I think that's just part of it, is that trust, though, too, that we're going to make the right decisions for the business, and really define, first of all, what that looks like as we grow and what pieces of the business we're taking on. But then ultimately it does come down to trust. Just like when you hire someone, you're trusting that they do what they need to do. It's kind of the same deal. So I think we will get there, and we'll have to see what that looks like at that point.
There's a 3-letter word that destroys companies, and it's ego. And something that her and I both, a quality that we both share, everyone has ego. So I don't want to be misconstrued, but we strip that. If neither one of us, as a prime example, she doesn't get to where she is now in BizFit, her health and fitness business, without removing ego, being humble, being inquisitive, asking the right questions, leaning on the right people, coaches, mentors, to get her to this level. And it's the same for me. I know that I don't know what I don't know. And I'm never afraid to ask. I'm never afraid to lean on people. So when we talk about what the future potential looks like when we're a multi-million-dollar brand and we are responsible for other things, it's delegation and being able to remove the ego and trusting that person X, Y, or Z that we have in charge of that gets it done. And that's, it goes back to that holding people accountable and having trust in people. And ultimately for me as a leader in the space that I was in for the last decade, empowering people to do the right thing. And that's what this brand will stand for. And I think that because of the way we both operate, if we're fortunate enough to bring people on and we get to that point where we have to rely on others to do the right things, make the right decisions, we'll have a culture where people feel empowered enough to be able to do so.
Yeah, and I think it's inspiring. Like, I'm sure you'll be able to inspire employees when you have them. But right now, it's inspiring to see two people, a couple, working together to build a brand and build a company. And I want to hear from each of you on this question. And if you need a second, that's fine. But what is some advice you would give to another couple trying to build a business together? Like, if you could just give them one piece of advice, what would you say to another couple?
Wear your seatbelt. My advice to any couple that is looking to pursue something, first and foremost, believe in yourself and the product or service that you're looking to offer. Evaluate that level of passion. Is it really what you want to be doing? Because if you remove Chubby's and you're just talking about Zach and Alex, there's nothing more important. So I speak for myself, I hope not. There's nothing more important than this relationship. Being able to segregate relationship, marriage, parents to business, though, can be challenging, especially in infancy stages where we are. I mean, it doesn't get any easier, but where we are, because it's all we know right now, there are times we go at one another lovingly, but we go, she's frustrated with something that I just did, or our camera and mic go out when we're on a podcast, and I get frustrated because we're in the middle of it and we're in a rhythm. You have to be able to separate those two, and at the core, the love, the relationship has to be strong. And if you have that core, that's the foundation you build upon, and then you couple that with the passion, with that delusional optimism, the theme of the podcast, right? To go for it and trust in one another that you're both going to row in the same direction to get there. That'd be my advice. But keep the relationship at the core, and know that the two are separate. But I think that's what causes a lot of strife. I think that's what causes a lot of conflict. Why they say never go into business with your friends, right? Probably even more so going into business with your wife. But we're blessed. We are very strongly united in love and faith, and that's the glue. And now we'll do this thing, and we'll take it to the moon.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, like, never go into business with your friends, or maybe not your spouse either. I don't know if this is still true, but I think money is the number one reason for divorce, like money problems. Like, you got money problems now, like, start a business, and then, like, let's talk about money problems. Like, all you have are expenses for, however long.
And especially if dad doesn't have an income coming in,
Yeah.
God bless her. God bless her.
So, Alex, what would you say to another couple that is wanting to start a business together?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of hard to beat, because it is true where the foundation is everything, and if there's cracks or anything in there, like, that needs to be figured out first before you add on working together, because it's day in, day out, like, as an entrepreneur, like, it never really stops. And so that's truly, like, that's such a key piece, is make sure your foundation is very strong first before you just say, this sounds fun, we should do that, because yes, it is fun, but it won't be fun if you end up hating each other at the end of the day, because things get hard and you have other issues that you're working through. But I think that's a big piece of it. And then also the financial piece, like you just mentioned, is another thing. Like, what does that look like for you, and how is that going to change potentially your living situation, your life? Like, what does that all look like? And are you willing to take those risks and potentially have some struggles along the way as a team? Like, does that make sense for your life, knowing what could be on the other side? So I think it's, a big piece of it just really does go back to how's your foundation first.
And we touched on, like, financial problems in marriages and business, especially starting a business. Zach, you mentioned earlier that we're fortunate to have some backing. Is that alluding to, like, some investors that you guys may have, or, like, support from family or friends, or as far as ownership goes and the funds for starting the business, what does that look like?
We are fully self-funded. What I meant by that was just investing in the right things at the right time personally, and then, of course, properly, although people could argue I spend money kind of like a lunatic, but being able to save enough money to have some sort of backbone behind us to do it. But yeah, we're self-funded and no investors, and I don't know that we'll take any on. I mean, never say never, but again, that's not what we're thinking about right now. Ultimately, it's just get the brand, get our first product to where it absolutely needs to be, and then we're targeting a July launch, and we'll see if that timeline still makes sense. But that's what we're focused on right now, and that's a big reason why we're in Florida, to bang out a lot of the things that we know are going to be tough in the next couple of months when little girl comes.
Yeah, and I get, like, being a bit of a spender. I'll justify it as a business expense, but, like, I'm into motorcycles, and I've got like some fairings that I ripped off an old bike that I had. You guys can't see it right now, but I bought a motorcycle engine that's sitting in the corner over there. I'm like, does that make the podcast better? Yeah. I don't know, but it's
well, but here's the one thing I'll say about this, and I know that any financial advisor watching this is going to hit me up and say I'm a lunatic. I'm a huge proponent of life is short. Now, I'm not suggesting you take your life savings and go buy 6 Ducatis. I'm not suggesting that, but
I've only had 2. I could use a few more.
Well, go get them. But be responsible. Hey, what the hell is the point of living this life that we've been given to not enjoy it? Mm-hmm. That's what I'll say. It's changed a little bit without the income coming in.
And 2 kids.
I've been there, right?
Yeah.
I bet better. But enjoy your life. Buy the things
Yeah.
you want as long as it doesn't put you on the street.
Yeah, I agree. Anytime my wife and I have like struggled financially, or just talked about money, and my wife's stressed about finances, like it's just money. We'll get more of it. Like that's always been my attitude. Like money's not real anyway. Like the government just keeps printing more. Like we'll just get a little more. We'll be fine.
Get more.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true though. That money mindset is also very important. So.
Well, I think that's a different kind of person, Matt. Like, I feel the same way, but that's a confidence that we have in ourselves to go and make money, right? And I know that, again, that level of security that I knew I was giving up by taking this, going all in on Chubbies, I know that, and I don't want anyone to think that I wasn't scared. I didn't get a little emotional, really talk with her for a couple days through it, deeply, like, okay, let's weigh these options. What does it look like if X? What does it look like if Y? So I understand, not wanting to take risks. I just ultimately feel, and I believe I speak for you as well, what the hell,
Yeah.
nothing is worth it if you don't risk. Without risk, the reward is what, if anything? So.
Well, and that just kind of brought me, back to your question about the advice for a married couple wanting to go into business. That's so important to think about. And if you're just wanting to go into business by yourself, if you don't, will you regret it down the line? Like if you don't give it a chance, are you going to look back and resent each other because you didn't go for that thing that you talked about and thought would be a really good idea? And that's ultimately where we were like, why would we not see this through? Like why live life that way? Because that's what we're here for, is to go, to build the life we want. And so I think that's an important thing to ask too, is because for us, I think we would have regretted it if we sat on this idea and then 5 years down the line we're like, man, we should have started Chewies. Should have seen what that could do for our lives. Like totally would have regretted that.
I think there is something to be said for right place, right time. However, why would you wait to start building the life that you want?
Period.
Totally. And people
Period.
do every day.
Yeah, I don't know your finances and all that, but I'm sure as part of those conversations you were like, well, what if I get this other job? Or what if I start to find another job and then I'll work for another year and then we'll launch? Or maybe work for 2 years, we'll stack some cash in the bank and then we'll launch.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Well, and especially with another baby on the way, I was like, let's just get through that.
But there's going to be a thing after that, right?
Always,
like,
always
well then
something.
we just bought a boat and maybe we shouldn't have. Okay, let's wait till we're done with the payments on that.
Yep.
My parents, my dad's about to retire, and then they'll move here. Like, let's wait till they move, and then we'll get a house where they move, and then we'll start that thing wherever we live 5 years
Exactly.
from now. Like, you will find another reason to delay building the life that you want.
And
So I would say never wait on that.
No, especially if you really believe in it. I kind of equate it to if you're at an airport, you're on the runway on an airplane and it's rainy, it's cloudy. You take your ascent and it takes a little bit, but ultimately you get above those clouds and then the sun comes, right? It takes a minute building this business, any business. But for us, it takes a little bit. There's things you have to get through. You got to move through the fog. You got to scratch and crawl through some BS. You got to take some things on the chin. You go through obstacles. But eventually, if you're willing to remain consistent and dedicated to what you're doing, you get through those clouds and you hover above them and you look down and go, damn, hey, okay, there's that first layer. Got through that, now the sun's here. That doesn't mean that we're still not on an ascent and above us, rain clouds that we're going to have to get through. But reverting back to that unity, that foundation that's built and created, when you have that, you can get through anything. And firm believers in that. You can't convince us otherwise. And for anybody, I think that's a really valid point that you just made. Lean on the foundation and just know that the thing that you're after is for you. Stay consistent with it and make it a reality. But don't give up on it. Don't fall short because it gets a little tough. You got to keep fighting. And Matt, you mentioned that earlier, that consistency. Just keep doing it. Keep going, because a lot of people will give up at round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Stay in the ring and eventually have that hand raised.
And it does always take longer than you think, right? Like that, you speak of that breakthrough moment where the plane's going up, you get through the clouds. And for me, like, let's say you go on a 3-hour flight, that ascent up to get above the clouds, like I used to, in my head, it was like 15 minutes, and then we're cruising. It's really like an hour. Like to get to your cruising altitude on a plane. Yeah. Different flights, different planes.
Sure.
It's all different. But it actually takes way longer than you realize it does to get to that breakthrough. Oh, we're above all the clouds. We're just cruising at our altitude. We're no longer going up.
Like the 30,000 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
it takes a lot longer to get there.
Yeah, once you hit that like 10, not in aviation, but I think it's like a 10. It's just like a, because you're off, and then it's just like a gradual.
Yeah.
Who would have known we were taking this to flight school?
My dad was in the Air Force, so I'll claim that I'm I'm into
Colorado Springs.
Yeah. I don't know. He was never in Colorado Springs, but he was all over. Anyway, like it takes longer to build the thing. And we don't realize it because we're on our phones, like on the plane, and we're all playing we're playing games on our phones, and we're like, oh, that was fast. But like when you're actually, like, let's say you're the pilot putting the plane up in the air, or you're the entrepreneur building the company, it will take longer to get to your breakthrough moment than you hope it does. Like, was July your original launch date that you had in mind back when you started this or I know you started before September, but
no.
What was your original launch date that you thought that's when we'll bring the?
Well, we didn't really have one, but we were super naive in thinking that we'd be launched now.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
I mean, that proves it, right? Like,
what
not even close.
Without question, and that's just a certain level of naivete that's hilarious, really, in retrospect. But you learn as you go, and then until you're the pilot or co-pilot, and you're there and you're moving the gears, you're shifting things, you're looking at the GPS coordinates, you're doing all of that. You don't know until you're there, until you're in that seat, and that's also something that I think is so beautiful. We're so obsessed with learning and growing personally and professionally that that's just like an added bonus for us to be able to learn all the different aspects and components that make up being owners of a children's brand. It's been super dope, man.
Things they don't teach you in your MBA.
Yeah, it's like I did an MBA for 2 years. I've been doing this podcast for 8 months. I don't know. I started in April. So whatever that means. I'm bad at math.
Coming up.
I got a finance degree and I'm bad at math. Sorry. I feel like I've learned so much more talking to like business leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals just in this podcast where like I want it to make money. You know, I'm building it for it to make money. But as a side benefit, I get to just like steal knowledge from people who are actually doing the thing. I'm not building a footwear company. I'm not building a business with my wife necessarily. But I do get to learn from you guys and from other people who have already done the thing and who are still doing the thing. You know, they're building companies either as an entrepreneur or, you know, plenty of people I talk to are just within companies. But as you guys are building Chubies, we're looking at a July launch date. From today to January 2027, like what could we expect to see from you guys or from Chubies over the next year?
Yeah, well, I'm on LinkedIn heavy, and that's there's multiple reasons for that. But for us, we're in the middle right now as we speak of building our website. We're going through a second round of edits and things that we want to improve and enhance on the website. Mm-hmm. I give you a time that's going to be live, but it just keeps pushing back. So it's soon, relatively soon.
Yeah,
I'm optimistic. Really soon. That'll be done. By the time that this airs, I would imagine it should be live. So
I can have this up by tonight.
Ooh.
Get your guy on it. I'm just
Your
kidding.
website will not be live by the time it's finished. So that we'll be pushing that, and the goal there is to share our origin story, draw people to it, educate people on why barefoot, everything that goes with what our brand is, and then we'll start utilizing the network on Instagram and that community that Alex has built to start sharing the story on Instagram more, really showing the shoe, the product, the genesis of the product from my sketches. That minute after she said Chubbies, the barefoot children's shoe line, to prototypes, some of the prototypes that you've seen, other things that we're working on building, and ideally we get to that July launch. We launch. We already have multiple products, Matt, behind it. Mm-hmm. We just want to come to market with the one. We want to have success there and then introduce new products as we deem appropriate based on where we are. And that's something that's also pretty fun and interesting for us, is we don't really know what this will lead to in terms of our product line. We have our ideas, we know what it could be, but we may find that our product that we're putting out right now is just absolute baller. We're hopeful for that, and maybe we just stick to that niche or where we are. So we'll see, but there's a lot of avenues we can take, and I think we just need to take it in stride, one step at a time, see where we are. But by January 2027, we will be a launched brand, and hundreds, if not thousands, of children will be in Chubbies.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Are you guys, as you're going up to your launch of the first iteration or the first product and then future products, so I guess what's your strategy behind the launch itself? Are you considering launching a pre-order option, months in advance, collect funding before you even ship any of the shoes, or just order goes live on the date and then ships next day, or what are your ideas behind that?
It's a good question, and I think we're actually leaning toward the former of doing pre-order sales. Mm-hmm. That'll be part of the website. We want to capture people's emails, get people in, and as I was mentioning, building in public is big for that. We want people to be part of building. We're actually planning I won't say a timeline, but prior to the launch, we want to bring in a substantial amount of people that will pull from Instagram that can test the product live in the market. We will be giving out free Chubbies to parents across the country to test out the product. But not only that, Matt, we want them to provide feedback. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be a brand that just puts out products and never minds what anyone else thinks or says. We want to hear directly from the consumer. We want to know exactly what our customers and brand loyalists are saying, so that we can make the absolute best product that will go on shelves or theoretical shelves when we launch. So that'll also be a big part of what we do prior. And then, like I said, by January, we'll be in full swing. The holidays will hit us hard, and we're hoping that we'll be equipped to handle what we believe will happen in the next 12 months.
Yeah. And are you guys planning on strictly e-commerce, direct to consumer, or are you guys going to try to get into retailers, or have you considered what sales channels you'll utilize down the road?
For sure. Yeah, we're open to both. It'll be D2C first. Again, leaning heavily on Alex's Instagram presence. Yeah. TikTok Shop, I think, is something I know that she dabbles in and knows, so we definitely don't want to miss that opportunity. But actually pretty cool, man. We're starting to talk with some people that have ins to retail. Nothing at all set in stone, nothing promised, nothing at all, but we're open. We've put together a model that would allow for both avenues, and I think when we hit that moment, when it's time to really discuss it and there are things laid out in front of us, then we have those conversations and determine which way is best.
Yeah. Cool. And then Anything you can share about like 5 years from now, what you hope the brand is?
I see Chubby's not just being a name of a shoe, but truly like a household name where most parents are aware of what it is. A brand you trust, a brand that you know is great for your kids' health, a brand that keeps people coming back for everything that we're doing. I think that's really the goal, is to have that community so strong where you look at a kid's shoe and you're like, those are Chubby's. Like we have those too. Like that's just like a household name. And so I think that's part of why going back to showcasing us going through this journey together is so important, because people buy from people they trust and know and like. And a lot of times I don't feel like business owners or entrepreneurs share a lot of like the ups and downs and kind of the backstory and the behind the scenes. So I want to make sure we continue to do that so that people feel like they have their trust in this brand 5 years down the line, being just a massive children's brand that people love.
And also, all of that completely accurate. But we're also still trying to figure out which avenue we're going to take from a philanthropic endeavor perspective. And there are some ideas that are leading the pack, but we will be giving back in some way or multiple ways. Still something that is at the forefront for us. We have no idea. We have some ideas and some things, like I said, that seem to be leaning toward more. But that's also in 5 years from now. I don't want to just be known. Well, personally, I don't want to just be known as the guy who owns Chubby's and that's that. I want to be known personally with Lex as owners of a company that make a baller product that, again, our customers trust, respect. They know us and they know we'll deliver, but also a company and people, founders that are more interested in giving back and providing opportunities, and truly practicing what we preach as far as active lifestyle and children and getting kids outside more, not just in front of a screen. That's what we promote. Go outside, be outside. And that's part of a little foreshadowing to some of the things that we're thinking about from that philanthropic perspective. But I want to be known for that as well, not just this company does X amount of money and they're successful. Cool. But what are we doing for others? And that's what I think is so important for us, as well as giving back and knowing that we wouldn't be here without the help that we've received. So, being a brand that people trust, great, but being a brand that also provides other opportunities in other areas as part of the success we've had.
Yeah, I'm very anti-screen and very pro get outside.
Yeah.
My daughter asked me, I don't know if I said it at any point in the episode, but she's 3.5 years old. She asked me every day if we can go camping. But it's January in Utah. So we're not that intense.
You got to get her on the mountain.
Yeah, like I know you can camp in January, and it's not even that snowy right now, but
yeah,
I keep telling her, like, we got to wait till after Mom's birthday in March, and then we'll go camping. But she asks literally every day. She wants to be outside, and she loves hiking.
Awesome.
Well, that's incredible. You instill that in them, and it's big for us. That's what this brand is. Active, healthy lifestyle. Not just foot health, but go play. Go be outside. I mean, do you remember back in the day, your mom or dad, you're annoying the hell out of them in the house. That's the two words you hear. Go outside.
Yeah.
And just go get lost, right? Yeah. I understand things are a little different. The world will be a little different. But, man, just go outside. Please. Yeah. And that's what we promote. That's what we're about.
Yeah, I love that for kids. Well, I think this has been very inspiring for me, and I look forward to seeing the final version of your product. The prototypes are really cool to see, and I'm excited about those too. But if people want to, if they hear this, make it to the end, they want to hear more, where could they find you guys?
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Well, usually I understand that you would want like an Instagram name. We haven't created the Instagram yet because we're waiting on a couple of things that are kind of holding up from that. But Chubby Kids, you can find LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then the Instagram and TikTok handle, look for Chubby Kids as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, this is definitely how we want to hear, but chubbykids.com will be the website, again, being built right now, and then at Chubby Kids will be the social.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I've got your socials as well. Zach, your LinkedIn. Alex, I haven't seen you on LinkedIn. You say you're active now?
I'm getting up there, yeah.
Nearly active?
Yeah.
Working on
Okay,
it.
well, I've got your Instagram. I'll link that in the description as well.
Awesome.
You're the man.
Okay, well,
You've been great,
Alex,
man.
Zach, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thanks for
Matt.
having us, man. It's
Appreciate it.
great to talk with you. We look forward to staying connected, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Bye, brother.